Serena Hayes had always believed that intelligence could protect you, that if you were sharp enough, fast enough, you could see betrayal coming before it arrived. But when the elevator doors opened on the 43rd floor and she saw Marcus Lindell waiting in her office with two men in dark suits, she realized how wrong she'd been. She didn't run at first. She walked calmly to the conference room, her heels clicking against marble, and listened as Marcus explained how the patent fraud would be pinned entirely on her, how the offshore accounts had her digital signature, how every document, every email, every late-night strategy session had been carefully recorded and edited to tell one story. That Serena Hayes, the company's celebrated tech strategist, had been stealing from her own investors for 2 years. "You built something incredible here," Marcus said smoothly, his smile never reaching his eyes. "But you also made enemies, and now they want someone to pay." She left through the service exit 20 minutes later, her laptop bag clutched against her chest, rain drumming against the loading dock awning. She didn't have a plan. She just knew she couldn't go home. They'd be watching her apartment. Couldn't call her lawyer. Her phone was likely compromised. Couldn't trust anyone who knew her name. The rain turned brutal as she crossed into the older part of the city, where the buildings crouched lower and the streetlights flickered yellow. Her blouse clung to her skin, her vision blurred. She'd been running on caffeine and fear for 3 days, and now her body was simply giving up. She collapsed in an alley between a closed laundromat and an auto repair shop, her knees hitting wet pavement, her palms scraping brick. The laptop bag slipped from her hands. Somewhere far away, she heard a door open, footsteps, a man's voice low and steady. Hey, can you hear me?" She tried to answer, but the world tilted sideways and went dark. When Serena woke, she was lying on a couch that smelled faintly of motor oil and coffee. A blanket had been tucked around her shoulders. The room was small and clean, lit by a single lamp on a side table. Across from her, a man sat in a wooden chair, his arms resting on his knees, watching her with quiet concern. "You're safe," he said simply. "You collapsed outside my shop. I'm Noah." She sat up too quickly and the room spun. Noah didn't move, didn't crowd her. He just waited. "Where's my bag?" she asked, her voice hoarse. "On the table by the door. Everything's still inside." She exhaled slowly, her hands trembling. She didn't know this man, didn't know where she was. But something in his face, something calm and unbothered, made her believe him. "I didn't know who else to call," Noah said quietly. "You didn't have any emergency contacts on your phone, and you were in bad shape. I brought you here. My daughter's asleep in the other room. I hope that's okay." Serena looked at him properly then. He was maybe 40, with dark hair starting to gray at the temples and the kind of steady, watchful eyes you earn through hard experience. His hands were scarred and calloused, and there was a faded military medic tattoo on his forearm. "Thank you," she managed. "You don't have to explain anything," Noah said. "But if you're in trouble, I can help. Or I can just stay out of your way. Your choice." She should have left. She should grab her laptop and disappeared into the night. But her body wouldn't move, and her mind was too fractured to think clearly. So instead, she nodded. "I just need a little time," she whispered. "Take all you need," Noah said. In the morning, Serena awoke to the sound of small feet padding across the floor. She opened her eyes and found a little girl standing a few feet away, holding a stuffed rabbit and staring at her with wide, serious eyes. "You were crying in your sleep," the girl said matter-of-factly. "Mila," Noah's voice came from the kitchen, gentle but firm. "Give her some space, kiddo." But Mila didn't move. She tilted her head, studying Serena the way a painter might study a landscape. "It's okay to be sad," Mila said. "My dad says everyone gets sad sometimes." Serena felt something crack open in her chest. She sat up slowly, pulling the blanket around her shoulders. "Your dad sounds pretty smart," she said quietly. Mila nodded. "He is. He fixes cars, but he used to fix people. In the army." Noah appeared in the doorway, dish towel in hand, looking mildly embarrassed. "Mila, why don't you show Serena your paintings while I make breakfast?" Mila's face lit up. She disappeared into her room, and returned with a stack of watercolors. Swirling blues and greens, soft pinks and yellows, abstract shapes that somehow felt like emotions made visible. "This one's called When It Rains But You're Not Alone," Mila explained, holding up a painting of two figures standing under an umbrella made of stars. Serena stared at it, her throat tight. She'd spent years in boardrooms, surrounded by brilliance and ambition, but she'd never felt anything as true as what the 6-year-old had captured in a handful of brushstrokes. "It's beautiful," Serena whispered. Mila smiled shyly and sat down beside her on the couch, close but not touching, like she understood that some people needed space to feel safe. Over the next few days, Serena stayed in Noah's small apartment above the repair shop. She didn't explain why she couldn't go home, and Noah didn't push. He just made space for her, gave her clean clothes, fixed simple meals, and let her sit quietly while he worked downstairs or read bedtime stories to Mila. At night, when the fear returned and her mind spiraled through worst-case scenarios, Serena would find Mila's paintings taped to the wall beside the couch. She'd focus on the colors, the shapes, the way they seemed to say, "You don't have to carry everything alone." One evening, Noah found her sitting on the fire escape, staring at the city lights. "You don't have to tell me," he said, settling beside her. "But if it helps to talk, I'm here." Serena hesitated. She'd spent so long building walls, protecting herself from people who wanted something from her. But Noah didn't want anything. He just sat there, patient and steady, like he had all the time in the world. So she told him, not everything, not yet, but enough. About Marcus, about the fraud, about how everything she'd built was being used to destroy her. Noah listened without interrupting. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. "You know what I learned in the field?" he said finally. "The people who survive aren't always the strongest. They're the ones who know when to ask for help." "I don't know who to trust anymore," Serena admitted. "Then start small." Noah said, "Trust me. Trust Mila. And when you're ready, we'll figure out the rest." Serena looked at him. This man who pulled her out of the rain and asked for nothing in return and felt something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. The media storm broke 3 days later. Serena's face was everywhere. News sites, social media, financial networks, all repeating the same narrative Marcus had crafted. She was a thief, a fraud, a woman who'd exploited trust and destroyed lives. Mila saw it first on the TV in the corner of the shop while Noah was helping a customer. She climbed the stairs slowly and found Serena sitting at the kitchen table, staring at her laptop. "They're saying mean things about you," Mila said quietly. Serena's hands clenched. "Yeah, they are. Are they true?" Serena looked at the small, serious child who somehow saw the world more clearly than most adults. "No," she said firmly. "They're not." Mila nodded, satisfied. Then she reached into her pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. She unfolded it carefully and handed it to Serena. It was a new painting. A woman standing in the middle of a storm, arms raised, surrounded by light breaking through dark clouds. "This is you," Mila said, "when you're ready to fight back." Serena's vision blurred. She pulled Mila into a hug, holding her close, and let herself cry for the first time since everything fell apart. When Noah came upstairs an hour later, he found Serena on her laptop, her face set with quiet determination. "I'm going back," she said. "Not to hide, not to run, but to tell the truth." Noah sat down across from her. "You sure?" "No," Serena admitted, "but I can't let him win, and I can't keep hiding." "Then we do it smart," Noah said. "You gather evidence. We find people who listen. And when you walk back in there, you do it with everything you need to take him down." Serena looked at him, this man who become her anchor without even trying. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. Noah shrugged. "Because you needed help, and because Mila likes you, and because I've seen enough people get crushed by systems that don't care. If I can help you fight back, I will." It took 2 weeks. 2 weeks of late nights, encrypted files, whistleblower contacts, and a journalist who'd been investigating Marcus for years. 2 weeks of Noah making sure Serena ate and slept, of Mila painting beside her at the kitchen table, of building something Serena had never really had, a family. When the expose dropped, it was devastating. Not just for Marcus, but for the entire corrupt network he'd built. Within 48 hours, federal investigators were involved. Within a week, Marcus was arrested. Serena didn't go back to reclaim her old life. She went back to rebuild, not the company, but the people had hurt. She restructured everything, dismantled the toxic leadership, and redirected resources toward ethical innovation. She made the company smaller, quieter, and infinitely better. And every evening, she left the office at 5 and walked back to Noah's apartment, where Mila would be waiting with a new painting, and Noah would have dinner almost ready. 6 months later, Serena launched the Bright Hands Project, a foundation offering creative healing programs for children recovering from trauma. Mila was her first ambassador. Her paintings displayed in hospitals and shelters across the city. One night, as Serena sat on the couch with Mila asleep against her shoulder and Noah reading beside her, she realized something she'd never thought possible. She wasn't running anymore. She wasn't hiding. She was home. Noah glanced over and smiled, the kind of smile that didn't need words. And Serena smiled back, finally understanding what it meant to be loved. Not for what you do or what you could give, but simply for who you were.